Good morning, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Health Discourse with Sakshi and Sushant. So, hi, Sushant. Good morning.
Good morning, very good morning.
So, how's it going?
Going on well, been down with certain health issues due to my recent visit to Delhi. So
Okay. So, could you
because
just describe us what exactly happened? Because, I think today's discussion will begin it from there.
so I went to Delhi for a few meetings for a week, and unfortunately I had to eat food from outside, and there were a lot of I'm not sure how these restaurants cook the food, and there was a lot of inflammation going on. When I came back, I was hit by diarrhea, and it was really bad, and it took me around 3 days to recover. But yeah, thankfully I didn't take any external chemicals. I used food as medicine to get rid of it. So for everyone to let them know, what I did was I used poppy seeds, right, and pomegranate and a lot of curd, right, which helped me, get recovered from this digestive issue. Yeah, but I didn't take any probiotics. I didn't take any supplements. I didn't take any drugs or these antibiotics to mask those symptoms. But yeah, I'm fully recovered now, right? And that's why we took a bit of time to do the recording after we came back.
Well, apparently, I must say that, you are brave enough to handle diarrhea because, what people do, they usually tend to stop the diarrhea using certain salts. Okay. So a lot of over-the-counter medications are there, and
Mhm.
then doctors, if you go to doctor, they do prescribe them also, right? So
Mhm.
apparently, what happens is there are at least three doses of medicines for stopping the diarrhea in a day, right? So
Mhm.
twice a day you have to take three doses, right? Now that is something I'm pretty sure a lot of us can relate. And today's talk is going to be about all these medicines, pharmaceutical chemicals, and whatever products we are using for, let's say, oral hygiene, or maybe for over-the-counter medications for management of such conditions, which can happen anytime and anywhere, right? So,
Mhm.
Sushant, today our point of discussion is going to be about these things, right? So,
Mhm.
my first question to you, let's talk about digestive issues, right? So, a lot of people who are suffering from problems like acid reflux, or maybe let's say diarrhea or constipation, they tend to take these over the counter medications. And what is their impact on their bodies, and what exactly are they doing to their bodies? And how, on a long term basis, it could lead to several other issues. Can you just throw some light on that?
So let us break this down on few aspects, right? First, discuss about the signaling molecule, which is the most essential molecule for metabolic health, and how drugs such as NSAIDs, right, antacids, PPIs, even cholesterol-lowering medications like statin is disrupting our metabolic health, right? So essentially, we need to understand the gas our body produces every 5 10 seconds, which is nitric oxide. It is a signaling molecule, right? It is produced, along our blood vessel inside our brain by our immune system, right? It is a vasodilator. It regulates your blood flow. It regulates your mitochondrial biogenesis, your ATP production, your energy cycle, right? It makes sure that there's a proper cellular communication, cellular signaling, right? So it is linked to regulating your blood pressure, regulating your insulin sensitivity, improving your sexual health, right? Cellular communication, right? Uh, Overexpression of or rightly expression of mitochondrial biogenesis, right? PGC1 alpha, expression of PGC1 alpha gene, which is the master coordinator for mitochondria, right? So there's a lot of functions to do. It also up uptakes oxygen intake and delivery. So it also regulates the oxygen uptake and delivery, right? Nutrient delivery. So there are multiple things which nitric oxide do. Just to let, so nitric oxide is produced with the help of oxygen. Obviously, with our body uh, is capable of producing L-arginine through urea cycle. It's a semi-essential amino acid, and we don't need to take too much of L-arginine. Our body is capable of producing it. L-arginine combines with oxygen, converts into nitric oxide and L-citrulline. So it needs oxygen to produce nitric oxide, right? And nitric oxide, you know, regulates the oxygen delivery uptake. It regulates the oxygen uptake and delivery, right? So essentially, it oxygen is required to produce this, and then it makes sure the oxygen goes to every nook and corner, right? It is used for exercise performance as well. So it is one of the most essential molecule, right? In terms of cell signaling, it makes sure that GLUT4, which is the protein which is released by the cell, it goes to cell membrane, clears the glucose for the circulation and regulates your insulin response, right? So it is one of the signals which tells GLUT4 to actually go to cell membrane and remove the glucose from the circulation and transport to different cells, right? So that is how role of nitric oxide is. Again, this is what happens when we take mouthwashes. So let us start with mouthwashes. When we take mouthwashes itself tells that we they kill 99% of the bacteria, right? And again, one way is obviously the nitric oxide is produced using oxygen. Other way is obviously the the pathway of nitric oxide reduction, right? Two electron reduction, which is done by oral microbiome, right? So oral microbiomes metabolize nitrate in various green vegetables, such as spinach, arugula, lettuce, and all these things, then convert into nitrate. Nitrate mixes with stomach acid and produce nitric oxide, right? Again, this is the most essential pathway because as we age, the oxidation of the use of oxygen to produce nitric oxide, the ability of our body through endothelial cell to produce nitric oxide goes down every year by 5 to 10%. So by the age of 50, our ability to produce nitric oxide through ENOS, which is again nitric synthase, which is coupled with the endothelial cells, right? Which is again line every single blood vessels, right? So it reduces by 50% by the age we reach 50. So the role of oral microbiome becomes more important, right? So mouthwash is actually, kills all the bacteria. It disrupts the nitric oxide production, and it is said to cause elevation in blood pressure, said to increase the chances of insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, erectile dysfunction, a lot of these things. So mouthwash is a complete no. It should not be taken. It is a anti septic. It is really bad. It kills, it disrupts the oral microbiome, right? Uh, First thing, right? Second thing is fluoride. Again, fluoride is not naturally found inside our body, right? And fluoride is a neurotoxin. It is antiseptic. It can virtually impact your metabolism. It can enter your pineal gland and impact your disrupt your melatonin production. So it could lead to sleep apnea. It could lead to hypothyroidism, underactive of thyroid function, right? It could interfere with any cellular process inside the body. It could even replace hydroxyapatite, which is required for remineralization of teeth, so it can impact your dental health as well, right? So fluoride and mouthwashes is something which we generally do not consider that important, right? And again, every toothpaste, 99% toothpaste have fluoride, assuming that fluoride is good, but it is not. It actually is really, really bad for our oral biology, right? So these things are we never consider, right? And we keep on uh, suppressing too much of carbohydrate diets, right? And too much of focusing too much on protein diets without understanding the root cause, right? So these are the oral hygiene products which are available in the market to regulate your oral health. Is actually doing the opposite. It is killing the bacteria. It is changing the pH level of your oral saliva, right? It is allowing certain pathogens to grow and express virulent genes, which could trigger gum disease, dental health issues, periodontal disease, increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, erectile dysfunction, dementia, a lot of these things, right? These all are linked to our oral microbiome. In fact, recent research came that P. gingivalis is also linked to onset and progression of pancreatic cancer, right? Which is again a harmful bacteria which could lead to expression of harmful genes. Again, this happens when there's a very high acidic level of oral pH, right? Our pH saliva pH is more acidic and probably, so all these things are the mouth washes out fluoride, right? So again, that is really, really important to understand. Yeah.
I think also it is very important to understand, especially in case of children, because children are never talked about in terms of health, and nowadays we can also see that there is a neurological deterioration among children, right? So instances like autism, they are on a rise, right? So could they be linked to the fluoride consumption, because mothers, they are already suggested
Yeah, so the issue is not the deficient fluoride, but issue is excess fluoride consumption. And as I mentioned,
mhm.
it's a neurotoxin, can go to brain, start doing inflammation here. But again, autism is a multifactorial condition. It is linked to, I'm not sure there's not much research connecting oral microbiome with, uh, you know, with or with autism, right? But there is a lot of research in the gut microbiome with autism. We know we have a product around connects around autism where we use study gut microbiome functions to address autism, ADHD, a lot of neurodevelopment issues in children, right? Yeah, but logically speaking, if it's a neurotoxin, it could enter virtually every cell inside the body. It could impact, uh, uh, the neurodevelopment of the child as well, right? And also because when child is born, obviously they get microbes from the mother through gut or vaginal microbe, right? But it also is also impacted by the because first interaction with the external environment is the mouth, right? So during the after the birth, there's a lot of movement of bacteria in and out of the mouth, right? So again, oral microbes do have a role to play, right? Right.
So also, Sushant, I also have this curiosity that why do people these days, they have faith on these chemicals but not on the food that we eat? Because whenever you see any condition coming up, we try to suppress it with these chemicals. So what is the actual reason why people do not trust nutrition? Why don't they trust the food that they're eating? Right? Okay,
Mhm.
I understand there has been a lot of industrialization, commoditization of food, and this packaging, the plastic packaging that is used, it does
Mhm.
causes this microplastic is found in the gut, and in various researches they are saying that you should not eat packaged and plastic packaged foods, right?
Mhm.
But in any sense, why is it that people are so much after the medicine? Why do they want to adopt these short term treatments for such problems, and why is it that they don't trust the food? Because nutrition is
It's
something that is going to impact their lives in a longer term. Why is nutrition so much underrated? That is what we want to understand here.
okay. So it is important to understand for the people out here. Disease manifests 2 decades before you actually symptoms show up, right? So essentially, 90% of us, there's nothing called as wellness. It's all way of marketing gimmick. 90% of us are living with chronic disease. We do not know because most of them are asymptomatic or hard to detect, right? And when the symptoms show up probably 10, 15, 20 years after the disease starts developing inside the body, right? These symptoms are, so you go to a doctor and most of the doctors have never taught nutrition, they've never taught about microbiome. We know that 99% genes expressed in our body are microbiome, 57% cells are microbial, right? So a lot of these biological processes are done inside our body by these microbes living in our mouth, living in our gut, living in our vagina, everywhere, right? So essentially, doctors try to mask the problem, try to suppress the symptom through medication. That's what they know. That's what they've been told. And again, we also prefer that because we prefer masking the problem. Okay, let us see. अभी हो गया 3 4 दिन 3 4 महीने बाद देखेंगे क्या होता है. But अभी के लिए problem खत्म हो गया. That's a thought process. Uh, of a lot of people. And I'll tell you a few things. So people who have acid reflux, right? Acid reflux is connected with on-scene production of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. Why? Because when you have acid reflux, you take PPIs. PPIs shut down the nitric oxide production. We discussed about nitric production, nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is actually a vasodilator. It regulates the blood flow, regulates the blood pressure, regulates the insulin sensitivity. It ensures cellular communication signaling, right? So PPI is really really harmful, and everyone is developing PPI. Like everywhere, it's available over the counter, right? anyone has acid reflux, acidity, they go and take PPIs, right? Again, we know the reason why people have acid reflux. We know why how certain pathways like methane gas production could trigger, the sort of slow food motility which causes SIBO, so that is all linked. Even acid reflux. There's acid reflux, probably food pumps in above. There's low of nutrient absorption, a lot of these things, right? So again, it is all linked to your microbes producing certain metabolites, which is causing this thing. It is not because of excess stomach acid. It is because of deficient stomach acid, right? So
Yes.
so when we take PPIs, it wipes off all the stomach acid. Then you don't have stomach, you don't have ability to digest food. Then there's a lot of these. You have vitamin nutrient deficiency. A lot of these. What these PPIs, the most important thing in these PPIs actually discipline nitric oxide production. So again, nitric oxide, then you start having higher risk of cardiovascular disease and a lot of these things. Even statins, which is cholesterol lowering medication. I'm telling you one thing, you don't need to reduce cholesterol, right? Without cholesterol, there's no life, right? Every cell synthesis cholesterol. Some cell are called net exporters, some cell are net importers. So some cell do not have the right amount of cholesterol, enough cholesterol to perform various functions. So they actually import it from other cells like liver, right? So essentially, cholesterol is a precursor for bile acid, for vitamin D, for various sex hormones like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, right? It ensures cellular signaling, cellular communication, right? 20% of brain is made up of cholesterol, right? It ensures fluidity of cell membrane, integrity and fluidity of cell membrane, right? So essentially, if there is an what we call is the charge differential. So there's flow of electrons, which makes sure the OT is reduced into ATP. That's how the energy production happens. But if you're taking too much of these statins, right, when you're suppressing cholesterol, so what happens is this the flow of electron is disrupted. It leads to oxidative stress, it leads to apoptosis, and it leads to mitochondrial dysfunction, which is again linked to mitochondrial disease and type 2 diabetes, right? So again, it is a mitochondrial toxicant. It is linked to statin is linked to type 2 diabetes, vascular dementia, and even have been said to report to in certain cancers, right? Statin is a way to, you think cholesterol is the reason for cardiovascular disease? It is not, right? 50% of the people who had heart attacks had normal cholesterol levels, right? Uh, uh, Cardiovascular disease is linked to, systemic inflammation happening either by gut microbiome or disrupting nitric oxide production, either by disrupting oral microbiome or again the chronic inflammation caused by gut microbiome, oxidative stress, or release of, you know, reactive oxidative species. So, for instance, again, when I mentioned about the integrity of cell membrane. What the cell membrane does? It allows nutrients and oxygen to come in. It allows, it keeps inflammation and ROS to out, right? So essentially, if there's no integrity of cell membrane, if this statin disrupt the integrity of cell membrane because it suppresses the cholesterol, right? Again, the fluidity of the cell membrane is made up by cholesterol, right? So essentially, you kill that, and then you have all this inflammation and dementia and a lot of these things, right? These all are masking way of masking your issues, not addressing the root cause. You are going to just develop disease sooner or later, right? And it is going to have collateral damage on various biological processes inside the body. Yeah.
I totally agree with what you have said, and in a long term, it definitely is
Mhm.
going to impact our bodies, right?
Mhm.
So I think with this, we end this discussion here. Sushant, any last words would you like to add here for our listeners?
Yeah, so nutrition is medicine, right? But you have to personalize nutrition and medicine. You can't do not fall for a high protein diet or standard diet or standard keto diet or yo dieting, right? Understand how each food interacts with your physiology, with your microbiome, right? So food good for you may not be good for your wife. A food good for you right now may not be good for you after 6 months, right? So it is very, very personal. You have to understand your biochemical individuality, which is again linked to your gut and oral microbiome, right? So do not fall for these. claims, prebiotics, probiotics, supplements, or some fat diets by any of these, fitness companies based on your blood works, based on your CGMs, or based on your what your nutrition is telling you. Yeah. And there's tons of thousands of biochemical reactions happening inside the body, which no one can decode, right? So it's essentially let we have technology in place. We have now, you know, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all these technologies in place which could analyze your data, right, to actually help you understand what your body needs right now. So personalized nutrition medicine do not fall for these chemicals. Avoid mouthwashes, fluoride. Check your toothpaste labels, right? These are really important to understand, right? And probably next talk we will do on the so-called foods which we consider good. For instance, chickpeas, right? The difference between unprocessed and the packaged ingredients chickpeas. How does it impact our physiology and blood sugar response also? But we'll discuss that in the next talk.
Thank you, Sushant, for an amazing insights on nutrition and the chemicals that we consume during our daily lives. So, thank you all for to our listeners for listening to our podcast, and we are available on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you.
Thank you.